Dvorsky has a huge opportunity tomorrow, and it's not even just about advancing. Let's get into it.
Hey, this is Brandon Chen. Subscribe to Locked On Blues.
You're Locked On Blues, your daily podcast on the St. Louis Blues. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back to Locked On Blues. I am your host of Locked On Blues, Haley Taylor Simon, talking to you all things about our Blues. On today's episode, Dvorsky has a huge opportunity tomorrow to do something really special. And yes, I know he's already broken records. We've talked about that. But I am telling you, all eyes will be on tomorrow's contest between Team USA and Slovakia. Following, what is an ideal game for the gold? I think we all know who we want to see, but I want to ask you the question. And then finally, Team USA was low scoring. Is that a problem? And I want to kind of bring this back to the Blues, as the Blues have an issue when it comes to scoring as well. I mean, they have an issue with everything, so you can always relate it back to the Blues. We have a lot to talk about on today's episode of Locked On Blues, and I want to let you know that today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On for $20 off your first purchase. I hope everybody is having a great Thursday. I know I am. My flight got delayed, and I landed back home, and I had a work meeting. I have a break now, and I'm watching hockey, the women's game. Listen, a lot's going on. But we will talk about the women's gold medal game tomorrow. I want to let that play out in full. But let's talk about Dvorsky, because he has a huge opportunity tomorrow. Slovakia versus US, and all eyes will be on this game. I mean, we're going to talk about this later in the episode, but the win that United States had yesterday over Sweden, I mean, it was a very, very, very close game, right? And there is a part of me that feels like Slovakia is sort of like the underdog that's going to end up surprising a lot of people. Because let's face it, a lot of people watch their specific team. Because of Dvorsky, I've been watching Slovakia. I mean, if it wasn't for Dvorsky, I don't know if I would be waking up as early as I have been to watch these games. But because of Dvorsky, obviously, I am watching. I'm half awake. I'm still watching. And there's a lot of positives with Slovakia. And the number one positive that I have is their scoring and the pressure they put on the net. And this is something that I feel like could really fluster the U.S. With Connor Hellebuyck in net. I have a really difficult time saying that I feel confident just because of who he is. And it's not because I don't think he's a good goalie. And let me reiterate this. And I kind of touched on this yesterday, but from my perspective, I watched Connor Hellebuyck absolutely look horrible in every away game in the first round of the playoffs last year. And yes, that was against the Blues. So my perspective is, wow, he wasn't able to do much of anything in net. I mean, it was a disaster. And with the Four Nations, I can say he did play a good game, right? But I just worry about when the pressure gets put on him. Now, let me say this at the same time. I think during the regular season, he is one of the best goalies in the NHL. You can't deny stats, and you can't deny how he is between the pipes. You can't. What happens is, it's when you put pressure on him, it's how he reacts. And sometimes it just goes into making those careless mistakes. Anywho, continuing on. I get really, it's hard, okay? I want Dvorsky to play a great game tomorrow. I want him to score. I want him to showcase his talent, because he has an opportunity to play in front of an audience that maybe hasn't watched any Slovakia hockey, and they can see how valuable Dvorsky is. Here's my dilemma. It's against the U.S. Who am I going to root for? The United States, but I want Dvorsky to succeed. And this is how it felt like with Broberg, right? And this is how it feels with any of our guys that are on different teams where it's like, oh, this sucks because I want to root for the individual, but at the same time, I don't want that team to win because I want my country's team to win. But I think for Dvorsky, it's a win-win situation for him in a sense. Obviously, I know that he would like to go on and to win the gold. I mean, it's interesting. Slovakia, as a team, they've been having so much fun. And Dvorsky even commented and said it's because they're all playing the game that they love together and they enjoy each other's company. So there is a really good atmosphere in that locker room. And again, you can play for the bronze. Like you could still play for a medal. My issue though is I want US to win, but I don't want to stop watching Olympic Dvorsky because he has been phenomenal. And I feel like tomorrow there's going to be a whole new set of eyes on him. And that's going to add some value to him. Now, nobody they should trade him, keep him. Like, that's not what I'm saying in terms of value. But it goes to show that while he doesn't have NHL playoff experience, it's pretty impressive what he's doing in the Olympics. So I think for anybody who is watching the Olympics and they're seeing how he's playing, I mean, those 6 points already, the 3 goals, the 3 assists, they see how he is on the power play. I mean, you see it, right? You could easily say to Coach Montgomery, this is a guy that you should put as the 2C. And I hate to say that because I love Captain Braden Shen, but I'm telling you, Dvorsky is the next big thing. And I've been saying this for years now. I feel like I've been talking to a brick wall about him. And people listen. You listen. I'm sure many others listen, like my friends and family who tell me to always stop talking about the Blues every day because I usually end up getting worked up and upset. But when it comes to Dvorsky, he has really showcased himself beautifully here in the Olympics. And this to me screams he is who you thought he was going to be. Because there were some people that didn't necessarily think that he was going to turn out and be this star player because of how he was in the few games last year. And let me say this. The few games that he wore the blue note last year, I agree, wasn't great, okay? But at the same time, he's done tremendous work in the AHL, and this year he's been doing great for the Blues. So I think it just goes to show that sometimes you need to give these younger guys a chance, these younger prospects. Now, obviously, you don't want to rush their development, right? And that's something that we talk about all the time on this podcast. We talk about development. We talk about how long the player should take to develop. And that's when I have on guests like Russ Cohen, aka Sportsology. I have Dylan on. I have Mike Meyer. We have a bunch of people that talk prospects, right? And we talk about the importance of developing said player. My only, and when I mean my only critique with how the Blues developed Dvorsky was not putting him on the opening day roster. In my opinion, that was a mistake. He should have been on the opening day roster. And to me, it doesn't make any sense why he didn't. I understand that they did acquire some other centers. I mean, you traded whatever, but he deserved it. He stepped up. And tomorrow, the entire world, I could say country, but that's not giving it enough. The entire world, I know everybody from Canada will be watching. I know everyone's going to be watching, and I can't wait to see the show. I mean, it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be good, entertaining hockey. And entertaining hockey is the best type of hockey. So coming up, I'm going to talk to you about the ideal game for the gold. I think we all know who we want to see. But hey, I still need to talk about it and have this on video as proof for how I feel coming up right after this. But first, I want to talk to you about my friends over at Game Time. There's nothing like being in the NBA arena, the crowd, the energy, the moment. Getting tickets, though, that part hasn't been so simple. That's why Game Time has become the go-to app for scoring tickets fast without the hassle. It puts the advantage back where it belongs, with the fans. I love how Game Time has the all-in pricing up front, so there's no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, you can get great last-minute options, too, with NBA tickets showing up solid prices. And yes, I know that many of us, we don't have an NBA arena around us, but still great prices. So take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code locked on, and it locked on for $20 off. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and again, use code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today, and remember, it's gametime.co, not .com. I also want to let you know about something that I have been loving. I know that you guys have been as well. And that is called the Everydayer Club. For only $5 a month, you get to listen to and watch Locked On Blues ad-free. That's right, ad-free episodes of Locked On Blues. And, oh, by the way, there is an exclusive Discord to where you can chat with others about the Blues or even Olympic hockey. We're having a lot of fun. So make sure to check out the link down below, and I will see you on the Discord. Again, that is lockedonpodcasts.com/everydayer. When it comes to the Olympics, an ideal gold medal game for me for the men would be Canada versus US. And let me explain. Last year, during the Four Nations face-off, I was captivated. It was a physical series between the U.S. and Canada. And in that game, the final game in Boston, it was electric hockey. It was some of the best hockey that I have seen. I mean, these Olympics have been amazing. I was just watching the women's gold medal game, and I'm really happy about the result. So again, I will talk about that tomorrow because I want to give them their full credit. But for the men, I just feel like there's so much of a history between Canada and US. I mean, there is, that's a fact, right? And especially from the Four Nations last year, I feel like that's going to kind of build off of all the momentum, all of the emotion. And it's funny because some of these guys are teammates in the NHL, but it's a completely different game when you're playing for your respective country. And Team USA, I mean, obviously, I think they're a very good team, and I do as well with Canada. I just worry more so about Slovakia upsetting USA, just because Slovakia is a team that does make a lot of shots on goal. They score a lot. And I feel like they have a lot of good momentum down the drive. And I feel like that's something where USA could get a little tripped up on. I also think, too, with the Canada and Finland game, that's going to be tomorrow morning. I just feel like Canada is a better team when they're going to defeat Finland. So I'm not as worried about that. I feel like, and I know Finland's a very good team, and I'm not in any way saying that they're not. I just feel like this Canada team is something beyond special. I am just more so worried about US, and it really is the goalie matchups. So yes, going back to the gold medal game, I obviously wanted to be Canada and US. Okay, well, we also have the Jordan Binnington and the Connor Hellebuyck storyline, and I know, I'm very conflicted on this one because Binnington is my guy, okay? He's our goalie here on the Blues, and I always want him to succeed, and I said that the Olympics were going to be like a redemption for him. Here's where I struggle. I want USA to win. I do. I just, it's a double-edged sword, honestly, because I'm sure for a lot of us, we all want Colton Parayko to do well. He's playing for Team Canada. But when it comes to Binnington, I don't know why I feel this way. Maybe it's because I just admire the way that he plays. I don't know. He's one of the best goalies I've ever seen wear the blue note since I've been alive. I don't want him to lose. So I don't know. It's very conflicting. And That's why I feel about this way with Slovakia and US, where I want Dvorsky to do well. I would hate to see him lose, but I want USA to win. USA, though, it's really interesting because the Kachuk brothers are, again, St. Louis natives. You also have Clayton Keller, who's a St. Louis native. So you can still make the argument that there is a connection to St. Louis on Team USA, and there is, obviously. But it's odd having your starting goalie on a team that you're not rooting for, and it's very conflicting. I hate this so much because I know how Binnington is. I know that he's going to do phenomenal if they make it to the gold medal game. I know that. I know that he's going to be a brick. I know that already. Connor Hellebuyck, I don't know if he has the ability to turn that on, and I guess we'll find out, but it would be devastating if US and Canada did not play each other at all, because that's also a possibility. Let's go say both of these teams, they both lose tomorrow. Canada loses and USA loses. Okay? They would be playing for the bronze. Would you still be just as interested if they were playing for the bronze medal and not the gold? For me, it kind of just kills all the momentum while you're still playing for a medal. The gold medal game, that's the game that we all want to see and watch and have. And there is the possibility that it may not happen. These two teams have been hyped up a lot. I made the argument today that this women's USA team is the best team that I have seen come out of the women's USA hockey in forever, really. I mean, these women are insane, incredible. Knight, Quinn Schofield, Keller, the list goes on. With Canada and US, I could make the argument that some of the best players from both of these teams could be on their final run, with maybe a Sidney Crosby, probably his last Olympic run for Team Canada. For Team USA, I'm sure we're going to see probably, again, Austin Matthews, but not at this level. The point that I'm making is this might be the most stacked Team Canada and Team USA teams that we've seen. Now, granted, there was a huge, over a decade drought without having any NHL players in the Olympics. So take it with a grain of salt. But on paper, looking at these two teams, you can see why there is a sense of, I want to see both of them battle it out in the gold medal game just because of the talent. Now, let's go say it's Finland or Slovakia. Let's go say, and I hate to say worst case scenario, but in the gold medal game, it's Finland and Slovakia. You know what? It's still going to be great hockey. Hockey is hockey. I just would hate for the outcome to be anything other than Canada versus US, just because of the rival. And maybe it would be Finland and US, or maybe it'll be Canada and Slovakia, right? Either way, I know for a fact that it's going to be what they call a cinema, a movie. And I'm excited to watch. I truly believe that the Olympics have been insane. And not even just hockey, like even curling has been captivating. Curling, I'm like, why am I captivated by curling out of all things? It's been captivating. This has been a very entertaining Olympics, an Olympics that I have been enjoying watching myself. But again, I want to know your thoughts, your perspective on this gold medal game for the men's side. Do you look at this and think, well, it has to be USA versus Canada? There are so many storylines and the list goes on and on. Or are you one of those people that's like, hey, I want to see an upset tomorrow. I want to see Finland take down Canada and have it be Finland and US. Or do you want to see it be Canada and Slovakia? Or do you want to see it be Finland versus Slovakia? Let me know, because I am curious. I feel like Slovakia is getting the most kind of, I don't want to say heat, but a lot of people are really underestimating this Slovakian team. And they, again, biased because of Dvorsky. A lot of these guys' names, hard for me to pronounce. However, what I can say is this team knows how to score. They know how to, put a lot of pressure. So again, we'll see a lot of man-to-man coverage. They find a lot of open spaces. It's a very good Slovakian team, which is why I am very apprehensive about saying that this is going to be an easy game, because it's not going to be for the US. And that's what we're going to talk about right after this. Workplace chaos, deadline stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still open. When's the pressure on? And you need the right hire. This is the time for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your posts. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to the Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is the job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. The game that USA had yesterday against Sweden made me very nervous, but it also brought up some points about the Blues this season that I wanted to talk about. While Team USA is significantly better than the St. Louis Blues as a whole, and I'm not going to even go into any more detail on that, we already know. The one commonality that I found in yesterday's contest was the lack of scoring on USA's side. And while, yes, they did inevitably win the game, you can't have it be tied up at one like that, right? I feel like for the Blues, what I have seen this season is that they're not the first team to score off the bat. Also, if they do have a lead, they don't know how to maintain that. And I think it's really interesting when you watch good hockey versus bad hockey, because in good hockey, you can tell how guys regroup. In bad hockey, you can see how they crumble. With the Blues, they crumble. With Team USA, they regroup. And their win in overtime, it was phenomenal. And I'm not calling for the Blues to win. I want them to tank so we can get McKenna, Stenberg. What I am calling for, though, is for you to observe, for you to see what good hockey looks like, even in low-scoring games. The Blues, not great at scoring. They're really not great at anything. And I think watching USA and seeing the score, it just kind of made me realize that this is going to be a problem for the Blues long-term if they don't get guys that are natural scorers. And what do I mean by that? Well, do you see Bushi scoring a lot? No. Like, you get what I'm saying? I just feel like they need to amp up the roster and put some more natural scorers on. Now, again, Dvorsky, beautiful. I am so impressed with what he's been doing. Stenberg, once they call, not Ivor, I'm talking about Otto. I know it's going to be confusing with the draft coming up too, so maybe I should just say little versus older Stenberg. I don't know. But even Stenberg too has been playing well, and Snuggerud, of course. My concern is, though, it's some of the other supporting cast members, in a sense, that make me apprehensive. I don't think Bushi's been scoring enough. I don't think Schenner has been. I don't think Alexi. I don't think Sonny. I don't think Walker. And again, we know that there are certain players, even Pius, Suter, but there are certain players that we know that we are not going to get the same as a guy like a Jordan Kyrou or Robert Thomas. And even Thomas has been off this season. I just think we need to get a natural scorer next season. I am so upset we didn't go after Quinn Hughes because while he is a defenseman, that goal yesterday in OT was a beauty, and it just made me very envious, honestly, of it all, to be honest with you. I mean, Quinn Hughes, that trade to Minnesota really surprised me. And I wasn't expecting it at all. I was more so expecting him to go to a team maybe in the East, and then all of a sudden Minnesota. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's what the Blues need to do. They need to go for players that are going to add more value scoring than anything else. And of course, defensemen. But again, the Blues, they're not able to find the back of the net. Then what's the point of having a guy like Binnington in net, right? You need to have natural scorers. I don't know how many times I can say that. So for the U.S., is it a problem? No, not necessarily, because they have a really strong defensive core. For the Blues, absolutely it is an issue. I mean, everything with the Blues is an issue. I've been enjoying talking about the Olympics because it actually makes our guys look good because they're stuck on a really bad team. So individually, they look good. We have a very intense day of hockey tomorrow. Spoiler, because I know this is coming out after the game. USA did win the gold medal against Canada, and Hillary Knight tied up the contest with like a couple minutes left to go. And then it was Megan Keller who got the OT goal. Such a great game. Some of the best hockey I have seen. I'm going to miss seeing players like a Kendall Coyne. Like, and again, I know they all play, in the PHWL, but it's not going to be the same as like the Olympics, right? So we got a really, really, really good gold medal game. I'm going to talk more detail about that tomorrow because Joy Dunn is an Olympian. A gold medalist Olympian. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. And like always, let's go Blue.